Hey, and welcome back to Digital PL. Today's video, we're going to look at the Google Calendar Intro badge. So first off, we'll see that we've got a list of tasks here to earn this badge, ensuring that our personal calendar info settings are set to private, creating events, inviting coworkers, and using the find a time setting, attaching at least one document to the event description, and creating appointment slots. Now, for this badge, it's important that since you'll be taking quite a few screenshots to provide all of your evidence, I recommend that you use a Google Doc or Slide and copy paste all of your screenshots into that one document, and then just share that one link from that one document to me when you go to submit for your badge. So if we go ahead and get started, the first thing that we'll need to do is ensure that our personal calendar info settings are set to private. So you can click this button here, and I'll take you straight to Google Calendar if you don't already have it pulled up. And before I get into the personal settings and privacy, just a quick rundown of Google Calendar. You should have this menu here on the left-hand side. If you don't see it, you can click this three-line or hamburger menu option here, and that'll subtract or add that menu from your screen. Also, I am currently in the week view. Using this toolbox here, I can select whether I want to see my whole day, a week, a month, a year, a schedule, agenda, just a list of things that are occurring for me, or what's coming up in the next 4 days or so. And each of the items in this list does have a keyboard shortcut associated with it if you need to move around quickly. But for the video, I think it's best to stay in the week view. Now back to our personal settings here, you're going to want to go over to My Calendars and find your name, and then select the vertical three-dot menu icon or snowman menu, and then select on Settings and Sharing. When you do that, you'll come to this screen, and you want to make sure the access permissions are set to where Make Available to the Public is blank. There's no check mark here. And that you do have a check mark here, and it says Make Available for Baldwin County Schools. See only free/busy, hide details. This is very important. You do not want it set to see all event details, because sometimes we may have meetings that concern other individuals. Maybe it's a tribunal hearing, parent meeting with a kid, IEP meeting, any of that stuff. We want to make sure that those details are hidden away to make sure that we all stay out of trouble. So if it's not clicked right here, you want to click on that. You'll get that checkbox there. You can turn this off. There's no problem in turning this off, but no one will be able to see when you are free or busy, to help make scheduling events with you a little more difficult when they can't see those things. So make sure that's checked. Make sure that's free/busy. And then your first screenshot will be of this screen with your name here. So the next thing we need to do is create an event, invite a coworker, and use the find a time setting. So back to my calendar here, I can click on any space to create an event, or I can use the create an event button down here in the bottom right corner. And the first thing it's going to do is it's going to ask me to add a title. I'll list my meeting. And then I can use these options here to control the day and the time, but I'm going to use the find a time setting here in just a moment. So I'm not going to worry about this right now. But also, if the meeting were to last all day long, I could use this option here to select that, and the time goes away because I know that it's just going to be all day. Things like that. Also, I have this option for repeating events. If I click on this drop-down menu, I can make sure that this this event repeats on a daily basis, weekly every Monday, monthly every third Monday, annually every June 18th, or every weekday Monday through Friday at this given time. There's also this tool for setting up custom recurring events. So you can select how often they occur, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You can select the days that you want the event to occur or not occur. And then it's important, if you're going to do a recurring event, it's usually a good idea to set an ending date. So by default, it's set to never. And if I say I'm doing a team meeting for my English department, I don't want those meetings to. I may want those meetings to occur every Wednesday, but I don't want them to occur continually forever until the end of time. So I can come here and I can set that to ends on a certain date or ends after we've had 13, 14, however many meetings that we need to have, and I can select done. Also, in the events detail section there, I can add a specific location for the meeting, and those are connected to Google Maps, so I can see. So if I pull this event up on my phone, I could click on the location, and it would take me to Google Maps, which would provide directions to that location. I can add conferencing to use Google Hangout Meets to provide web conferencing using a webcam and a microphone. I can also set notifications for the meeting for how soon before it I want to be notified or reminded the meeting is going to occur. I can change the calendar into which the meeting is organized and also the color on my calendar if I wanted to do some color coding. This right here should be set to what your default is, the privacy settings that we covered earlier. And then down here, we've got this option to add descriptions for the meeting. And so this is a great tool where you can type any details about the meeting that you wanted to include here so that your guests can see and understand what's coming up. You can add links to documents or web pages that you'll be talking about in that meeting. And then right here, what's most important is you can add attachments. So this is a great spot where you click that and it's going to pull up your Google Drive, and then you can go to your meeting minutes document or any other document that you know you're going to talk about during that meeting, and you can click on them and select them and add them to the meeting description there so that everyone that you invite will automatically have access to that document as well. So under guests, what I can do is I can select from anyone in my contact list and add them as a guest to this meeting. You can see once you do that, their name and information is added below in the guest list. Now I can also control what my guests are able to do. By default, the modify event is turned off so that my guests cannot change the date or time of the event, but you can absolutely turn that on if you wish to. And you can also control whether or not they can invite other people or see the guest list in and of itself to have your guests know who else may be coming to the event as well. Now, I mentioned in the task section that it was important to find a time. So normally what we do is we invite this other person to our meeting, and then we email them and we say, hey, what's a good time? What works best for you? And that can often take up quite a bit of time negotiating when is a great time to have that meeting. So once I invite those people, though, I can click on this option, find a time, and it'll show me a calendar setting with an overlay of those other individuals' calendars, right? So since this is my other account, my calendar, I can see my information, but normally what you would see is this event would say busy with no details. If you have that setting turned off like we're supposed to, there'll be no details. It will just say busy. And so then I can look for the empty spaces and I can try to schedule this event when I know that all of my guests are free and available. And that should save quite a bit of time in scheduling the meeting. So once we've got that done, we can find a time, we can set that. You can see it changes up here to match what I've selected. And then I can move that around if I need to reschedule it, or I can even highlight the bottom of this and drag it and drop if I need to extend the duration of the meeting, and that all changes up here at the top. So what I'll do once I have that is I'll come back to the event details and I'll take a screenshot of this and I'll take a screenshot of this. We're going to need the two things to qualify for your badge. The last thing that we'll work on for creating The last thing that we'll work on for earning the Google Calendar Intro badge is creating appointment slots. So if I go back to my calendar here, get rid of that. So if I go back to my main Google Calendar, I do have the option when I click in this open space, I get to create appointment slots. By default, it's set to event, but I can click on appointment slots and I'll give it a title. Like, let's say we're going to do, let's say we're doing student conferences. We're going to sit down and speak individually with each of our students. And we're going to click on more options to set the amount of time that we're. So back to my main Google Calendar, if I click on any open space into which I want to create appointment slots, I can see that by default it's set to event, but there's an option here that I can click on appointment slots. So then I'll click on more options. I'll go ahead and give my appointment slots a title. Let's say we're doing student conferences. I'm going to say that these appointments are going to exist on June 21st, and we're going to do them from 10:30 to, let's say we do them until about 3:30. It's quite a lot of time here. Now, each appointment slot, I get to control how long those last, but I'm going to say I'll have slots with the duration of, for student conferences, let's do a 15-minute conference. Right, and then I can even set how often these repeat, again, as I mentioned earlier, using those same features. I can add a description and even attach. Oh, nope. You can also create descriptions down at the bottom and add guests here if I wanted to deliver these appointment slots to specific individuals. But what is a little more interesting that I can do is I can take this here is a link to this calendar's appointment page. And once I have this link, because I haven't created these slots here, and instead of adding guests this way, what I can do is I can take the link that's been created for my appointment slots. I'll click that, and you'll see a calendar that lists the available appointment slots. So if I send this link out to a group of people, they can see which different appointments I've created, and they can click on one to sign up for it. So if they say that this is the one that they want to do, they get to say where. If I didn't add the location myself, but if I typed in my classroom, I can say that. I can click save, and that appointment will be grayed out on the menu, and so the students can no longer click on that one. So that's a great way for students or other coworkers to schedule specific time with you. You create the one event, you send it out, and then they get to pick when it is that they'll meet with you. And of course, that shows up on your calendar here, and it shows you as soon as one has been scheduled, you can click it and see who it has been scheduled with. I clicked on it myself, so of course I'm going. So make sure that you screenshot this page as well and add that to your doc or slide. Now, once you have screenshots of each of the 4 of these items, you can submit that one document using the Request a Badge form found at the bottom of the web page.